The history of science has been driven by landmark discoveries made with revolutionary instruments. The telescope holds an honorable position among these civilization changing inventions. In 1609, the visionary scientist Galileo Galilei turned this newly invented device of his day to view the heavens. His observations showed conclusively that there were astronomical bodies that did not revolve around Earth, validating a radical new model of the solar system and our place in it. 400 years later, a telescope equipped with digital detectors and placed above the clouds continues to advance the legacy of Galileo's first influential spyglass. The Hubble Space Telescope, launched on the 24th of April 1990, orbits well above the optically degrading effects of Earth's atmosphere. In its 30 years of operation, Hubble has not only helped shape scientists' view of the universe, but it has also brought a glimpse of the wonders of the cosmos to homes worldwide. In 1946, soon after World War II, astronomer Lyman Spitzer proposed launching a space telescope which could overcome the limitations of ground based observatories. The American Congress approves the funding for the large space telescope in 1977. The world's first space telescope was named after the renowned astronomer Edwin Powell Hubble, who proved the existence of other galaxies and discovered the first evidence for an expanding universe. Orbiting high above the Earth, the Hubble Space Telescope has a clear view of the universe free from the blurring and absorbing effects of the atmosphere. Hubble is a Cassegrain reflector telescope. Light from celestial objects traveled down a tube is collected by a ball-like inwardly curved primary mirror and reflected toward a smaller dome-shaped outwardly curved secondary mirror. The secondary mirror bounces the light back to the primary mirror and through a hole in its center. The light is focused on a small area called the focal plane, where it is picked up by its various science instruments. Hubble is an orbiting astronomical observatory. Orbiting 340 miles above Earth, the Hubble Space Telescope is positioned high above the blurring effects of the atmosphere. From this vantage point, it captures images with 10 times the typical clarity of any ground based telescope and views not only visible light but also wavelengths of near infrared and ultraviolet light that cannot reach Earth's surface. To operate from orbit, the observatory works like any other scientific or imaging spacecraft. It converts the optical data it collects into electrical signals that are transmitted back to Earth. It must also withstand the airless, high radiation, and harsh thermal environment of space. Unlike most other spacecraft, however, Hubble was designed to be serviced periodically by astronauts and so was built with modular components that are astronaut friendly to handle and replace. This design strategy has enabled it to operate longer than ordinary spacecraft and to benefit from the technological advancements of the last 2 decades. Astronauts have visited the telescope 5 times to upgrade its computers, mechanisms, and instruments. These servicing missions have kept the observatory at the forefront of discovery by providing it with increasingly sensitive and accurate components. The last of these servicing calls was in May 2009. Hubble is big. Excluding its aperture door and solar arrays, the spacecraft is 43.5 feet long, about as high as a four-story building, and 14 feet in diameter at its widest point. Altogether, it would weigh about 25,000 pounds on the ground, although it is weightless in orbit. About the size of a large school bus, it filled the payload bay of the space shuttle discovery when carried aloft in April 1990. Humans have always been curious to know what happened just after the Big Bang. Galaxies are cosmic islands of stars, planets, nebulas, gas, dust, and dark matter that are separated from one another in space but collectively help to tell the story of the universe. With the NASA ESA Hubble Space Telescope, we have begun to understand galaxies as time capsules that chronicle how the universe evolved from the birth of the stars within them to the build-up of immense galaxy clusters.
On its 30th birthday, we look back at its unparalleled scientific contributions and its spectacular imagery, while anxiously awaiting what discoveries are yet to come.